How's it going, everyone? Mad Spartan here, and today I'm bringing you just a simple completion guide for the new Winter of Woe Gauntlet that actually dropped today. It's pretty exciting. Now, with this strat, if you take the left side and also use this team, you will get 2 out of the 4 missions for the Winter of Woe challenges, and then you could go back in, take out Storm X, because pretty much anyone can take Danny Moonstar. Well, I'll get into that a little bit later. So you were able to actually get 3 of the 4 missions just with this left side alone, just with swapping out 1 champ. So with this run altogether, I did get 2 missions, which was pretty good. I didn't really run into any issues here. It was actually pretty smooth sailing. So the first up, we do have an Aegon, which for those of you that haven't read his notes, it's pretty much just about when he throws a special, he's going to put on a timer that you need to knock him down with a heavy to allow the timer to go away. If it goes all the way through, I think you get dealt like 33% of your health, all in a big burst damage. And while that's going on, you're actually gaining a timer that goes around, and you get that little bear trap symbol that you guys are looking at. When you get 3 of those, you become rooted. So the strat to play with Chavez here is to constantly hit him with heavies, because even though he becomes debuff immune after a special, your heavy from your combo actually still goes through, kind of bypasses his debuff immunity, which is pretty interesting. So I would say the big thing about it is to constantly try to bait out those specials, immediately knock him down with heavies to get rid of the timer, and then try to have a special lined up for when the rooted comes. And there's actually a little trick with that. You don't have to, in essence, have the special up. You can actually just throw your relic, because the relic will come out as if you're not rooted, push him all the way back, and then during the combo and also while he's stunned, you actually recover fast enough to get out of the rooted before he's done being stunned. Unfortunately, you can't combo off it, but it's a pretty easy fight. So you guys are going to see here, I'm constantly knocking him down. I called in the relic there because I wanted to line it up with the rooted that was coming in. And pretty much you're doing so much damage from him consistently having 6 Furies that the fight just kind of ends by itself. I do, spoiler alert, end up taking this fight without taking any damage. So it is a flawless fight of just constantly balancing not only the burst damage that happens from his special, but also trying to get rid of the rooted, because that's a big thing. You don't want to get rooted in the middle of your heavy or anything like that. So I always make sure I have a relic and or a special lined up for it. And the only thing that may screw you here, it did take me a few tries to get this down, like, kind of packed. I think it took me like 3 or 4 tries. A lot of times the Mystic Dispersion from the 6 Furies happens, and then you end up kind of just gaining like 2.5 bars. So it's definitely something to keep track with. I will definitely highly recommend that you only throw the heavy with all 3 hits. You never cancel it, because if you end up actually hitting him through the heavy and then canceling it, doesn't count as knocking him down from the heavy, so you actually do still get the burst damage. You guys are going to see here, I just make it on the last like millisecond, so we're still at 100% health, still looking pretty good. It's just consistently baiting specials, immediately retaliating with knocking him down with the heavy, because we do bypass debuff immunity. And then once you have two of the bear traps, just throw out that special like it's nothing, because the 3rd dimension was your last dimension, your SP2 actually comes out unblockable. So you can throw it out in any instance and get you out of any jam that you're in. And try to measure it with the Mystic Dispersion. A lot of times the Mystic Dispersion will push you to 3 bars, but it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't say this is a fight that, you have to turn off Mystic Dispersion. It's not that big of a deal. As you guys can see, I definitely work my way around it. I did have that SP3 there, but I will call on the relic. As you guys can see, it does carry him the other side of the screen and also keeps my rooted going, but I can't seem to find a way to punish afterwards, which I'd rather just maintain it in neutral. I do immediately hit him with an SP3 here to do like big damage to him, and pretty much gonna have complete control over this fight. We do get big damage boost from the Furies. As long as we maintain knocking him down, there's literally nothing that can happen. Hit him with another heavy here, and we're going to try to bear out this SP1. I did unfortunately get rooted because I wasn't paying attention to the bear traps, but had a relic just to keep us in there. I always try to maintain holding the relic. I don't really use it for canceling anything else, because you really can't play as freely with Chavez as you would like. But yeah, it's not too bad. That fight, obviously, as you guys saw, was done perfectly, but I did try it at least like 4 or 5 times before that, And it definitely did not go as smooth until that last attempt, which I was definitely very happy about. Next up, we do have a Danny Moonstar here, and if you guys have watched my previous guide when she was the Winter of Woe Week champ, I did end up going in with Stormex with that as well, and also used her on Lightning Tempest to maintain the stun so I could keep hitting her, because she has reduced combat power rates, a whole thing with that. But this time, I went in with the Glancing, the Ice Tempest, really just for one reason. It was more just for to see if it can be done without it. I mean, obviously, they're both important in their own way. I like the Lightning Tempest because it allowed me to stun her. That was a big reason in the video that I used it. But I definitely wanted to see if the Glancing and the Ice Tempest was also a solid way to go. They kind of both work the same way. But due to the fact that I know that if I ever wanted to do this path again to gain one of the other missions like you guys were seeing, I need to be able to take someone out to take Danny Moonstar, because Chavez is too important to take out Aegon and also Hulkling, and I would prefer to have Venom for the Spider Ham to stop all evade, because that fight is literally all evade and it's a mess. And as you guys saw while I was talking, we did screw up the decks on the SP2. It was very upsetting. But in my head, like, I felt it. I was like, you know what? Most of my my really good fights start off horribly. So now I'm on 27% health here, trying to bait out heavies by holding block, kind of at a distance. If it doesn't end up happening, whatever. But now I really have to be on point with these dexes, and I'm doing pretty well. I'm always going to be trying to cut the combo short and throw out that light. Sometimes she bites, sometimes she doesn't, you know. Just trying to play calm here. I know if you guys watched my previous guide, it's literally the same exact fight, except I kind of get my teeth kicked in this one. I'm not sure what the difference was. I think it was just, it's been so long since I fought her, so I kind of was a little rusty on the decks and ended up getting slapped for it. But yeah, this fight is pretty self-explanatory. I won't really talk much about it after that. But yeah, probably gonna come back to the next fight and let you guys kind of just finish this up. So after fully clutching that fight, that was Storm's last fight, so I wasn't really too nervous about the damage that I was taking. I was definitely a lot nervous with fighting the Aegon with Chavez, because I didn't want to spend items on this as cheap as I am with it, because she had not only the Aegon, but she has to take the Hulkling. Now, the Hulkling is a pretty interesting fight. Chavez completely dominates it, kind of in her own way. She is a hero, so she does gain superiority, so her specials do stun him through block. But you guys are going to see that I actually don't really go that route too much, because I'm a little bit scarred from it. When I was using the mercenary objective and I was using Domino, there was a lot of times that he wouldn't get stunned when I was throwing the special into his block. I wasn't sure why it happened, so from now on I just play it super safe. What we're going to do is obviously that heavy into her combo comes in extremely handy. We're able to knock him down and get rid of that protection, so we can just kind of go ham with basic attacks into his block. You guys are going to see that a lot of the times I'm going to be hitting into his block with just 4-hit combos. That's not that's kind of it. I'm going to knock him down here to be able to hit him with an SP3 to kind of start over. He wasn't throwing that SP2 like we wanted, so the Mystic Dispersion did carry me over to 3 bars, which isn't the end of the world. Now here we have the perfect rotation here. I'm going to be cutting the combo short so I can just keep hitting into his block. And as you guys can see, we are hitting for 9,000 on mediums and 6,500 on lights. So it is just consistent damage. I will be throwing the SP2 into his block, but unfortunately, because the negative dimension is our last dimension, that SP2 actually becomes unblockable. So there's not really anything to do about it. As you guys can see, the first hit itself is really juiced up because it's hitting into his block, but because it is unblockable, the second hits just do kind of regular damage. I know he has a bunch of different type of damage reduction, so we only do like a big damage the first time, and after that it's just kind of steady damage from there. So that's pretty much all there is to this fight. As you guys can see, I'm just throwing the SP2 into his block, kind of maintaining distance to keep on his side of the screen, using the heavy to knock him down to get rid of the protection, and pretty much just rinse and repeat. You know, this is another fight that Chavez gets done without even being touched because of how high Hulkling's power rate is, you know, how much power he gets from you hitting him with a heavy, and also from his own little power gain when he gains buff. So it's just an endless fight of baiting specials. I do end up getting pushed to SP3 pretty much like 6 times, something crazy during the fight, just because of Mystic Dispersion, but it's not the end of the world, because when you hit him with an SP3, you know, it builds him to at least a bar, so you can retaliate and just keep hitting his block, and it's just an endless cycle with that. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about this fight. It's not that hard. I mean, if any of you did it when he first came out, Chavez was the answer for it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Now I'm just gonna let you guys finish this, and we're gonna talk about the next fight. Now, lastly is the Spider-Ham, which was kind of an annoying fight. It's not too bad, especially with Venom that stops evade from all Spider-Verse champs. And as you guys can see, he does have 100% increased ability accuracy on defense, which I believe means that slows have no effect, because I think slows reduce evade chance by 100, and because he has an additional 100 on top of whatever he has, I think slows have no effect on him. So this fight is pretty interesting in its own. You have to like throw the specials while you have the Porker Poppers on you, because those reflect damage onto him instead of you. But I just kind of thought about completely bypassing the node in its own and just doing 5-hit combos with Venom and just never throwing specials, which basically means never reading any of his other nodes, which is literally what I do. A big part of the fight is when you hit into Spider-Ham's block, he purifies a debuff off of you, which is you constantly have debuffs on you fighting him. And when you end up purifying a debuff, you get dealt big burst damage. So you guys are going to see a few times when I fail intercepts and stuff and I hit his block, I'm going to get dealt big burst damage because he's going to be giving me a cleanse charge so that I can purify it. It's an interesting node. I've never really seen it before, but with Venom, as you guys can see, it's just simple 5-hit combos, which is why this fight takes so long. But you guys don't have to watch the whole fight to know how it ends up. But it's literally just a simple 5-hit combo. You can even parry him here. I don't do that because I don't want to take too much damage. But you can literally just parry him here freely. He doesn't have any damage increase. And if you bypass his evade, there's literally no node. So as you guys see there, I did hit his block and got dealt a little bit of burst damage, but it's not the end of the world. You guys are going to see I actually do it a few more times. Obviously not on purpose, but that's pretty much how I lose all of my health. Because as you can see here, it doesn't matter whether he has 700% ability increase. Venom just stops all evade from Spider-Verse champs. So there literally is nothing that can have him evade. And you guys are going to see evade failed hundreds of times. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This was a very simple guide that I kind of just looked at the fights for a little bit and just kind of threw a team together. And I know that you can't get 3 all in one shot, but I do feel like you do get 2 here because you gain the fight the Spider-Ham without a tech, and I believe it's fight a Spider-Ham without a skill, I believe, or it might be a science. But either way, you do gain 2 of them out of the 4, and then if you were to go back in, I would definitely highly suggest getting rid of Storm X or whatever mutant you use to fight Danny Moonstar, because that fight literally has no requirements. It's literally just dexing the SP2 and also intercepting every once in a while. Any champ can take that, so I would recommend, you know, throwing a science on your team or something like that, one of the other completed objectives, just to fight Danny Moonstar. You know, there's not really anyone that's a bad option for that fight. I mean, I did it with a rank 3-1 Viv Vision just for the objective, so literally anyone can take it. And then this path now gives you 3 objectives out of the 4. I mean, I don't really have an answer for the Mystic one. That's not really the point of this video. It's just more of just how to get as many objectives as possible the easiest way as possible, which I landed on this team with swapping out Storm X for Danny Moonstar. And just like that, you're pretty much going to gain all the objectives. I mean, in my case, I only need 1 more to gain the next milestone. I won't be able to gain enough points to even gain the other one, which is the Titan Shard Crystals, which is very upsetting. But that's what actually gave me the idea for this. If you're just looking to complete it or try to get as many objectives done as possible without, you know, too much work, this is definitely the path for you. Just swapping out 1 champ, you can gain 3 total, and then, you know, worry about the Mystic if you decide to take the right sider. You know, I'm not really too familiar with that, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. You know, just kind of a little guide on the fights. It's not too bad, and it's definitely not too hard to replicate. I think the hardest fight on that is probably the Aegon, just because there was plenty of times that I just get slapped in the face and die in 1 hit. There's you could get bad rolls with him throwing an SP1 when you're about to get rooted, and then you got a dex and you don't have a special or a relic or anything. So definitely would keep practicing that fight, and you know, it's pretty much game over at that point. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.